So today's conversation is about health being a natural state for the body. And we are going to describe our experiences as people in terms of health and fitness and mental health and
overall well-being,
well-being, and how we have come to the conclusion that health is natural. No, I always knew this.
Everyone already knows.
Everyone
already knows because health is natural, and deep down, whether you ignore it or not, you know it. But just coming to live in alignment with that truth.
Yeah, I would say
sometimes is a journey.
I think also the discussion is important. I think we need to talk about the influence of society on moving you away from knowing that health is natural. And
there's just so much going on in the external world. There's so much noise, and whether society means well or people are trying to take advantage of you, it doesn't really matter. It's easy to get swayed away from that, that foundation. So
yeah,
we've had experiences in
we
that.
Definitely have had experiences,
and we're going to share that today.
I would say that health is a natural state of the body. I am a little bit hesitant to say that, well, if you were living in an ideal world, would you just be healthy? I don't know. Are there anomalies in health? Some people can do everything right, it seems. Maybe they aren't, but that some things happen to people.
Yeah,
so I just don't want to say that health is natural, and that
I will say that.
I will say that too, but I would say that sometimes things can happen to even the most conscientious people.
Yeah,
definitely. And so and that's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault.
Definitely no one's fault.
Right.
There are things that happen in our individual lives and in the collective that are very unfortunate, and they are, seem to be beyond our control. And so, yeah, I would say that if we want to make our lives as easy as possible in terms of being aligned with our natural state of health, instead of reinforcing that, the best way to align ourselves with the ideal outcome is to prioritize our health. And then prioritize, that will extend from the individual to the collective, and then less unfortunate things will happen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so, if you want to move to a state of, okay, well, if people are, feel bad or feel, unlucky or whatever, they feel that it's unfortunate that these things happen. If they want them to not happen, then they have to prioritize their health, and that will gain momentum, and then they will happen less. And you can either, those are your two options. You can either sit there and reinforce the unfortunate thing happening, and then it will continue to happen, or you choose, I don't want this to happen. And you don't want it to happen, hence why you're pissed off that it's happening. And then you align yourself with health, and eventually it won't happen as much.
No, I agree with that. I would say, 99% of the time, you can control your health. You may have to change your life. You may have to rearrange everything you do. You may have to think completely different. You may have to value things differently. But if you did that, if health was your priority, and I believe that it should be, because if you don't have that, you have nothing. then
your health,
like you're dead if you're not healthy.
It's so ridiculous. I think that people assume that health is optional.
Right.
Like, health is your life. You don't have a choice in health being the number one priority. Like, if you're not healthy, you're not doing anything. You're not going to be doing anything. So you
maybe for the time being,
but it'll catch up to you. It will catch up to you in your life. Yes. And then eventually you're not going to be doing it.
Yeah.
And so if you want to have more opportunity to do things, if you want a better quality life, and in turn more years in your life as well, like, if you focus on just making your life good in terms of the quality of it, and I don't just mean like good as in like fun, I mean like founded upon health, then your time that you get to spend living, or the opportunity that you get to spend living, will extend itself. But yeah, I'm just saying health is your number one priority, whether you want to acknowledge that or not.
I would say there are 3 things that we are going to talk about, more than that, but we're going to cover like our experiences first, but just so that I don't forget them. Number 1, people would say, first of all, I personally believe, having been in the fitness industry my entire life, now I'm 56 almost, that most people don't even know what it feels like to be healthy. I think they live feeling sick and they don't even know it. So that's number 1. We'll get to that. Number 2, I think people will say to validate their life, how they live, that, I'd rather live, I want to have fun. I'd rather live and have fun than, be restricted and live longer. Like, I want to be able to just fun and party and have fun and do this, and who cares? I'm going to live fast, die young, when I'm 40 or 50. I don't care at that point. That's a load of bullshit in my head. But number 3, to that point, I believe that who are we to decide what is a good life? Like, is it a good life that you get to drink beer and eat cake every single night? Is that a good life? Like, why is that a good life versus I'm going to eat healthy food and actually feel good?
I feel like all of those things that you just mentioned are actually the same point. Because
they are the same point.
You're saying most people don't know what it feels like to be healthy, because most people aren't in tune, again, with their natural self, their most authentic self. They don't really actually know what they want. They think this is fun, then they feel like shit. And then, again, this idea that the good life or whatever has to be, it's similar to what I saw in that podcast with Dr. Mike and Brian Johnson talking about life, like extending your quality of life and the rarity of life, just the rarity of life, like meaning like shorten years, like make you appreciate it more, make you like put more into it. And I'm like, I just think this is like complete, like this notion that health, like living a healthy life and living well, living a good life are 2 separate things, is completely ridiculous. Like, again, if you want to be living an inauthentic life, and I'm not sitting here going, oh my God, you can't drink a beer, you can't eat cake. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, like, you can do I think everything in moderation. Like, I mean, I say that now. Eventually, you may not want to drink the beer or eat the cake at all. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, in terms of this, that's what makes me happy. When half the time I feel like shit. But during those, like, brief moments that I'm happy, it's when I'm doing those things that give me pleasure, and then I feel like shit again. I don't know how you can say that that's actually, like, happiness. I don't think that that's an actual, like, authentic, like, example of being happy. I think that's being in an illusion of happiness that ultimately leads you to feeling like shit. And so if you're lying to yourself or being lied to or whatever, if there's deception going on, I don't think that you can actually say, I'm happy.
But if you don't know what feeling shit is, then you would.
If you don't know which is, again, most people don't, and it's like that's. I think this is the journey that we're all on in life, and so there's no like shame to anyone doing anything. To be honest, like we are all trying. It's the hardest. It's the most simple thing, but it's being healthy and being your most authentic self is the most simple thing, but it's also seemingly the most difficult, because that is the lifelong struggle or journey that we're all on, and we are all on it together. Like I very much I will just say this because it goes in line with the topic of our video. I've lived my life founded upon oneness. And again, health being natural is an implication of that. It really is. Like, oneness just means that we are all connected. We're all connected. We're all equal. We're all connected. We're all actually the same thing. It's just one experience. Health being natural is a direct implication of that, because it's saying that there's nothing that could be outside of that oneness that could make you weak, that could make you sick. There's nothing. Health is just, it's natural, the natural state of life. And the thing about it is, the only time that it seems unnatural, like seems unhealthy, is when the parts, of that integrated or interconnected system don't acknowledge that they're connected. When they don't acknowledge that they're connected, then there's conflict between the parts, whether that's in your body or that's in a relationship or that's in a collective, and then they are fighting against each other. Then it expresses itself or it manifests itself as unhealthy, disease, whatever you want to call it, inflammation, whatever you want to call it. And so getting those parts to actively acknowledge that they're connected and integrate themselves allows for the health to be expressed more easily. They don't have to do anything extra to be healthy. They're just naturally healthy because they all acknowledge, oh, we're working together. Like, that's the thing about a system. We're in an interconnected system. And with the system understanding that it's connected works together. It works together. And then your success in your health is my success and my health. And if you are not, or if you're going against that, that would be the natural state of harmony between the parts of the system. Peace between the parts of the system. Inner peace. If you're going against that and you're straying off and doing your own thing and being like, fuck you, or if you're being like, I can do something at the expense of you, you can't. You can't, and that's where unhealthiness will come in. In terms of your body itself, in terms of society at large and all of that stuff. Yeah, in terms of all layers of the experience of life, right? That's what life is. Life is one experience, and in order for it to be healthy, people need to acknowledge that. So the health is natural. Yeah, people, we live in a world, especially in individualistic cultures, that don't acknowledge that, and they don't even really value connecting with their inner self. And when you connect with your inner self, ironically, you're able to connect better with the outer world because you're acknowledging, oh, okay, I know who I am. And again, that's what I'm saying. When you go down deep enough, you'll realize that we are all here sharing this experience together, and we are all one. And so that's what I'm saying, that the inner work, doing that, allows you to connect with that truth, and then allows you to present yourself and interact with the outer world in a healthier way. And so, yeah, most people in individualistic cultures are not connected with that understanding. They don't focus on their inner world at all. They're focused on getting things, which, again, comes from a it's working from the foundation of I'm lacking something. I need to get something to make myself feel like I'm not lacking something, which is why so many people are driven to get more, and accumulate more, and all of this stuff. They're out of touch with who they actually are. And what they actually brings them joy, which is why people are so susceptible to influence, external influences that are profiting off of you having a need that they can fill for you. And that is in just overall capitalistic culture, but like it's the medical industry, the healthcare industry, fitness industry, the beauty industry, the food industry, every industry is also using that. They're using that to their advantage to make money. Like they want if you're not sick, they can't heal you. And you need them to heal you. Because you couldn't possibly be healthy on your own or heal yourself. That's the loop that we get caught in.
Yeah.
And that's what leads us to the beginning of our experiences. Here, Mandy.
Okay, so I would just say, like, knowing yourself and being able to read your body and know when something is wrong comes from inner work, paying attention, just intuition, all of those things. And the one thing that is hard for a lot of people because they haven't done that, they haven't either one been physical in their life, they haven't done any kind of reflective meditative work in their life, they haven't done any of those things because they're always trying to go and get stuff and
they're
do
busy.
things. Busy, yeah.
Distracted.
The problem is it takes practice, like anything, to be able to do that, to be able to know when something's not right with your body.
It is the most fulfilling practice, though.
It is, but it does take practice. And so if you haven't been doing it all your life,
it's gonna feel
or at all, it's going to feel difficult, but it is essential. Your dog wants to get out. Let him out. Hold on.
He's gonna want to come back in.
I know.
In like 2 seconds.
Just leave the door a little bit open. It is essential in being healthy that you can do that.
It's not. It is being healthy.
It is being healthy.
Like,
yes.
It's the same thing as
same.
being healthy. Knowing yourself
Yeah.
is the same thing as being healthy.
Yeah. So anyway, let's just go over sort of our background.
But one thing I will say, though, is that is the biggest myth and the biggest thing that you need to dismantle if in your thinking, if you think that health is hard and that prevents you from doing it. If you're like, oh, being healthy, changing my lifestyle is going to be so hard, I can't do it. It is one step at a time. It really comes down to just being present with yourself. All you have to do is actually prioritize that you're going to be healthy, and your body will sort itself out. It's like, oh, I want to be healthy? Okay. Then in every single decision that you make, you will come into alignment more easily than you think. Because again, everyone, the practices that you do and the foods that you eat, everyone's going to be different in their actual individual habits. But it really does just take being present and wanting this more than anything. Making it your top priority is what I mean. Mm-hmm. As long as you make it your top priority, everything you do will be filtered through that, and it will be just peeling off a little layers. It will be easier than you think. And if you think that it's going to be hard, that's going to be the number one thing that's going to prevent you from even changing at all.
Right.
And that's the biggest lie, because again, as we said, health is your natural state. Natural means easy. Natural means going with the flow. Natural means resistance free. So it's not going to be hard. Your mind is, you're tricking yourself to think that it's going to be hard so that you don't have to do it.
If I've learned one thing over all these years of trying to be healthy, it's that it is in the details. Like any great thing, it is in the details. It is in moment by moment. It's not just, I'm going to do this one thing over here once in a while and expect that it's going to, no, it's not like that. And you have to pay attention all the time. Yes. Just like when you're driving a car, you don't drive down the street and occasionally look around to see if there's cars. You're looking everywhere all the time. What am I doing? Am I stopping? Is there a car? Like, that's how it is.
You gotta be awake.
And oh no, yeah, okay. I'll just talk about my experience.
But if you're paying attention, best thing to invest in is yourself.
Yes.
But I mean, like, healthy self.
Okay.
No, I don't just mean like yourself.
Okay. So my background, I'm not going to take too long, but
we're going to take the time that it needs.
We'll take how long it needs. She's, yeah.
What?
Nothing.
I don't speed. Okay.
No,
What's the why?
Oh, my daughter's a granola.
Granola?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
Total hippie.
A hippie.
She is.
A hippie.
I
What's
raised
that
her.
cause?
I don't know.
I don't just sit
Oneness.
in a field for no reason.
Yeah, she does
I
do
sit
that.
in the field
She does
for reason itself.
Anyways, so I grew up in the 70s, and like any 70s child, spent most of my childhood outside. So playing, riding bikes, running around with kids, building forts, doing all that stuff. So I think, like, contrary to how kids grow up these days in front of the computer and that, we just didn't do that. So lucky for me, I was active. We were just active from birth until, teenagehood, where some of us may have stopped being active. Again, lucky for me, I grew up in a house where my parents were teachers, and my mother taught fitness on the side from being an actual teacher. She actually taught fitness, and I would go with her, and they were always into being healthy. And so I learned how to do aerobics and stuff like exercises and all that stuff from the time I was like 15. I went with her. And then when I got involved with boys, the boys that I got involved with as a late teenager, early adult, were athletes. Again, very lucky for me, because I went with them to the gym. I learned how to lift weights, and they played high-level sports. So it wasn't just little weights. It was like how to learn to do a clean, how to do Olympic lifting,
Wow.
like how to learn to lift weights like a
15-year-old Mandy. Just like,
I wasn't 15. I was like, at that point, I was like 17, 18, 19, early 20s. This is how I spent a lot of time in the gym, and being around boy athletes. So I am very grateful for that, because I don't think most women would get that experience. So I had that background.
and just hang out with the boys.
Hung out with the boys, and then I had children in there, 3 kids in there, and I didn't do as much fitness stuff, but we were definitely active. I rode my bike everywhere with the kids on the back and in the trailer and on their bike in the bike seat, and we went swimming. And my priority for being a mother was to be with them and do things with them, and we were always very active. We did not sit in front of a TV. They played outside. They rode their bikes. I remember getting pass to the city pools every summer, and every day, if it was warm out, we were pool jumping, I called it. So we would bike over to the closest pool, swim there for a few hours, get on our bikes with our picnic lunch, and bike to one that was a little further away, go swimming there in the afternoon. Like, we were just active as a family. And then when she was about 5, old enough that I could take her to the Y and put her into the daycare there, she hated it, but I started teaching fitness. So that was something that I just did. And then I did that for 20 something years, taught every kind of class known to man, did some personal training, did group sessions like women in weights and this kind of stuff. So for me, I've always been involved in fitness, but outside of the fitness, I always was active anyways. I love dancing. I love swimming. I love biking. I like walking. I like just anything outside. I like to do that. And that has sort of been my life until we ended up opening Human 2.0, which is a integrated healthcare facility with my husband, who's a physician. And that's all about prevention and natural fitness and health and all that stuff. So that has been my life. Like, I feel like I grew up just being healthy as much as I could. Being active. I don't know that I I think my diet, even though I thought I was being healthy growing up, I've learned a lot about that. And definitely my diet, as I have been going through menopause and stuff, has definitely changed. And now I'm like, what was I eating? Chicken fingers? That's not healthy. Like this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My diet has changed in the last 10 years because I pay attention to how I feel and, things like that. So, that for me, diet has become a much more, something that I focus on a lot more, because the active part of me, I've always done that. And even though I thought I was eating healthy, I don't think I really was. I wasn't eating terribly, but I think that has even gotten better.
I think that
in the last 10 years,
in terms of diet, like just a really important part, especially Dan Butner talks about this in Blue Zones, is the homemade aspect.
Yeah,
of
for sure,
food.
100%.
And like, again, this sort of ties into like health being natural, like unprocessed as much as possible, unprocessed, but also even just in the experience of cooking, like again, treating the experience as something that's valuable, like when you cook the food, when you eat the food, what you're doing when you eat the food. If you're, like you talk about the social aspect of eating.
Social aspect of eating is just very important.
All of these things were like, if you treat this as an experience that's not just like a means to an end,
rush through it, and
that's more important, I would say, than the particular, like, you gotta have this many carbs, you gotta have this many the micro macros of your diet. Like, I'm not saying that it's not important to have a balanced diet, but I think that will be just like a natural, like, you will learn to sort of understand, like, you will come to understand how to balance your diet as you take more care in the preparation of it. If you're not involved in that process at all, of like, it's just like it shows up at your door, there you go, like, then you won't care as much what goes into your body. But if you're there and you're actually like cooking and you taste all the flavors and you just see it all come together, then you do just, again, naturally take more care about, like, put more care into what you're putting into your body, because you're putting value on the experience of making it.
Yeah, I think most, or not, I won't say most, I would say that a lot of people probably think that being healthy means eating some kind of food that somebody else has made that's not complete garbage. And then if they're lucky, doing some kind of workout for an hour a day, maybe, and then that's it. That's what I would think most people think is healthy. Sitting for the rest of the day, no. Not actually making your own food, no. Not reflecting on just the entire experience of your life.
It's like, because they're like chunking it up.
Yes,
like the health is like a chunk that you can add into your life.
Yeah.
I have this that I do, then this that I do, then I have my health practice, then I do this.
Right.
It's like, no, your health practice is all of it.
Is all the time.
Everything you're doing.
Yes.
Including like your job.
Yeah.
So again, like, if you're not happy with your job, like all of these things, your friends, like, and I'm not saying like, again, like, this all comes down to how you interact with your environment and like your overall routine. All of it, everything is encompassed by health, and it's not something you just add in, especially like, that's the thing that Mandy's going to talk about in terms of fitness. Like, it's not something that's just like a workout. I do a workout, even though I work out. I work out. Like, I do be like going putting on Pilates things, being like, I'm doing a workout now and whatever. But like,
that's a part of it. One part.
Again, you want to. It's like this. Like, you want to keep it rolling all the time. You don't want it to be like, okay, I did that. Now I'm like trying to move forward. If this is like you moving healthily, you're like, oh, I did my health practice for the day, it's done. Now I'm trying to move forward with all of my other things, but like the actual thing that gives you fuel, which is your health, you stopped it. You're not doing it anymore.
So like, talk about your.
Well, I just want to touch on also what you were talking about in terms of like just being active when you're younger. It's interesting because like, I feel like I'm part of the generation that is like right in the middle in the middle of the transition between, oh, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have like computers too. Now we have only cell phones. Like everything's on the cell phone, everything's on the computer. We're always sitting on the computer, whatever. So like I've experienced climbing trees and playing tag around the neighborhood.
I forced you guys to do that.
What do you mean? I literally always sit outside.
You do, but
I'm always outside.
If I was a parent who didn't encourage that, I instilled that into them. Sure. That was important, and that's how you.
I am who I am because of my mom.
She is exactly who she is because of me.
But I'm just saying, hello, what was I gonna do? Like sit and play checkers inside or something? Like if not, because outside's nice and fun.
Well, it's not, and health isn't just being physically active.
Sure. But I'm just saying, like in terms of the physical activity level of it.
Active, yeah.
No, but even not even just me. Like I feel like again, millennials can understand this. We came from like we were outside, and then we were inside, and it just like shifted so quick. And like the kids nowadays, they were only inside. Like they don't really know what it's like to be outside. And then Mandy's like, well, I was always outside. What is all I'm not saying, man, you're pretty hip with the technology, but I'm just saying some people like in your generation will be like, what is this?
Yeah.
So ridiculous that they're always inside. So I'm like, feel like I got it both.
You can understand, right?
I can understand both. Yeah. And like, it's just wild because like you definitely, I mean, maybe you don't notice. If you haven't grown up with like physical activity being normal, like then maybe you don't notice that you're always sitting down and that you're not moving your body and that you're stiff and there's obviously you're hunching because you're always sitting on your computer. Like maybe you don't notice these things. Like there's certain things that I just feel like are normal for kids now when it's like, what's going on? And just the level of convenience of foods, people's diets, like they don't really notice how far we've gotten from that healthy center. From us being like, oh, I woke up today, I just want to go outside and run around. Not saying that everyone does that, but I'm just saying it would be more of a natural inkling for you to do that if you weren't so distracted now. But now everyone's so distracted. They have the convenience of their phone being right there. They're like, before they can wake up and think that, they wake up, they're like, right when they're going to, stretch and be like, I would love to go and like walk outside. They stretch, reach over, grab their phone and go, oh shit. And then they get distracted for 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, it's actually wild how distracted we have become. And
what's your background?
And I will say this though.
Wrangling you.
Why? What is this a podcast?
It's just a podcast. We can talk forever. I was just trying to keep us on track.
I'm on the track.
We haven't talked about your...
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there.
So, yeah, it's just wild, but I definitely think that it also works like a pendulum. Like, I feel like more people now are like, they do care. Mm-hmm. They do care about their health. They just don't know how to get to it. Mm-hmm. They're like, what do I do? I'm so overstimulated. I want to care about my health. And so that's why I think that it's just very, very, very important to like lead with the idea that health is natural. Number one, because it's true. But number two, because it will make it much less intimidating for people to shift their lifestyle if they want to. Because I know so many people do want to. They really, really do. Mm-hmm. Like, they just don't know how to go about it. Mm-hmm. And it's not, just knowing that it's not as hard as you think it's going to be is going to be your, anchor through it. And so anyways, now I'll talk about my experience, because like, I'm not sitting here being like, I was like always just like so like just in alignment with my health. Like I definitely went through a time that was very difficult. Like I would say like growing up, again, I was very, in terms of my physical activity has never been really an issue for me because like, as I said, my mom was always taking us outside and stuff. Like we were always doing stuff. And I started dance when I was young. And thankfully dance is great because again, it's not only is it physical activity, but it's also creativity. So it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just like, okay, I got to go up and do some burpees and like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're just, again, naturally moving your body and working out too, and you're staying in shape too.
Mm-hmm.
So dance is an amazing way to, you know, sneak fitness into your life. Not that it needs to be sneaked, but if you're overwhelmed by it, it might need to try to dance. But anyways, so I did dance my entire life. Yeah, from like 4 to, I don't know, 19. I was like going to dance classes, like extracurricular dance classes, pretty much every single day from like hours. Did like ballet. Ballet was one that was like, I think really, ballet is an amazing fitness, or like just sport, whatever, like exercise thing, exercise modality, movement modality, because like as a base, it provides you with a lot of like structure, like in terms of your movement. So like I feel like all dancers know this. They usually will start with ballet, but like going to other movement modalities and having that strong foundation of ballet, like where they teach you, like, again, you become very like rooted in your body, like, and your movement, and just how you travel through space, how you hold your posture, everything, your alignment, everything. So ballet was really good for that, for not only, I would say, like my physical movement, but also just like it it's helps with discipline. Ballet helps a lot with discipline because it's a lot of just like over and over and over and over, and like again, you're really fine tuning your body. So I am happy that I did ballet because I think that it helped with my self discipline in my life. But yeah, so I did dance till I was 19. Went to like high school for dance, and it was good. Like I didn't want to be a professional dancer, but I love that I know how to move my body. That is like key to who I am. I think that dance helps you with, yeah, like I get, like I said with the ballet thing, helps you with your posture, your like the structural, like just like being able to move in the proper alignment. But it also helps you like move through space. It also helps you with agility. Like I think that a lot of my movement through life is intertwined with the fact that I'm a dancer. Like, it sort of is like you move through life with control, but also freedom. Like there's a balance between like being anchored, but also being able to, be, improvise on the spot kind of thing. And so that is what I have like really loved about my dance training. But I knew I didn't want to be a professional like dancer. And so after that, I just kind of, didn't go to dance classes anymore and didn't pursue that like into university. But I was always appreciative of it. But meanwhile, like while that was happening, I had like, we'll probably do like another video where I like more so talk about my like actual experience that like, led me to this period of my life and just how I felt going through it. But I'm just going to try to keep it as like focused on the like health like aspect of it, like just because, okay, when I was like young teenagehood, like 14 maybe, like I just remember one time like I I couldn't sleep for like a week. I was like so like I was just probably just stressed, stressed or whatever was going on led me to go to the doctor's office, right? And she gave me this sleep hygiene like list. She's like, you should try doing like turning off the lights and turning off your screens and whatever, like all of these things. And I was just like, this is like right when I was just got my first cell phone, right? So I'm like, like I don't really want to do that. Seems like too inconvenient for me to do, like I was very much in the society, in the under the societal like mindset of I just kind of want you to fix it. I want you to fix it, doctor. I don't really want to
do anything.
I want you to just.
Also, probably you're thinking the things you're suggesting to me, doctor, just seem like that couldn't, like turning my lights off, like as if that's not going to do any good.
Yeah, no, I'm like, you don't get it. I told her, I was like, you don't get it. I'm suffering, please.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a little angsty fucking teenager, like just like, ugh. And so I'm like, just give me the medication. Just give me the medication. And she gave me the medication, and I was on sleeping pills, and I was taking those. I was like, okay, it's helping, and then I was like, you know what? Meanwhile, like, I just had a huge growth spurt too. Like, I used to be like short, and then I got like super tall, and then I was like getting just like teenage acne, and like just all of these things that were leading to me like being like, oh, going into my first year of high school, like, ugh, like feeling uncomfortable, just feeling awkward with myself. You know what I mean? And so I just like I was having those like sleep issues, and after she gave me that, I don't know if it was this like right after, but I just like kind of like, I don't know. Again, I'm not gonna sit here and like go do like a therapy session, but I'm like, I got to a point where I just feel like I was swept away in that mentality of I needed to be fixed. I needed to be fixed, and I couldn't fix myself. And so I was relying on the doctor to give me this stuff. I went to the doctor. I was like, my skin, I need it to be fixed. This is freaking me out. Like, I was just like, ugh. And my mom, she's like telling me, she's like, I don't know if you said it at that time, where she was like, you should just use water on your skin.
I think I did.
It's just it'll go away. It's fine. Like, I don't know if she said it like that, but she was definitely like, calm down. Like, this is fine. Like, trying to reassure me that everything that's happening is normal. And I'm just like, ugh, right? Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm starting to like pick at my skin, and I'm just like, oh, like freaking out, And I was like going to the doctor or the dermatologist or whatever, and I was like, please give me stuff. And I'd put on stuff, and I'd like wait, I'd be like, is it working? 2 weeks later, I'm like, it's not working. We need to switch to another thing. Like, I would go through like so many products. And my skin, I mean, again, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. What I found out in the end, that my skin was like, you're fine, just leave me alone. Like, you're actually healthy. But that's what it said. But anyways, so I'm like over there trying to do so many things, right? And my skin is like trying to keep up. It's like, oh, I guess we're doing this. No, you're not doing that anymore. Like, I guess we're using benzoyl. No, now we're using silica. Now we're using hyaluron. Now you're like putting a chemical. Like, it's just freaking out, right? Going into a spiral. And I'm also like, at the same time, so that's happening on one hand. And then at the same time, I like go to the doctor. I'm like, I think I'm And she's like, instead of thinking, hey, this too shall pass, I'm thinking, that's just me now. Like, just like, and then she's like, okay, well, here, well, we can give you medication for that. And I am not sitting here knocking medical treatment. Some people need it. But I'm telling you that I thought I needed it. I've been through this has been a whole thing for me.
It's been a decade.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need it. I can't do this without that. And I'm not going to say I regret. It's not a regret. Like, because I think that everything that happens in your life ultimately happens for a reason. Like, you learn lessons and stuff. And so I needed to go through what I needed to go through at the time. But it's like, it's literally like running around only to come back to the center and be like, oh, I should have never started running around. What was I doing running around? Like, I took medication, and I'm not just sitting here being like, oh, I just took medication, like, I'm like super low dose and whatever. No, I took lots of medication in my life. Like, I've taken all probably sorts of the medication that you're thinking, probably took it. I had probably them telling me I had this, that, you have this. No, but you should actually go to see this person. They're telling me, oh, you have this. You're actually, it's an anxiety. No, maybe it's borderline. I don't know. Like, it's just, they literally will like tell me anything. All of these things. You have ADHD, like all of them.
You had everything,
and
I think.
I think I've had them all. Like, I think I'm pretty much all of them. So I'm like, anyways, they're telling me. And the amount of like, again, it's this identity thing. As soon as you identify with I'm sick, I have a problem, and I need you to fix it for me. You've gotten your, like, that's a slippery slope. I'll just say that. It's a very slippery slope. Like, the identity and then the self-fulfilling prophecies of an identity thing where you identify with something that is disordered. Like, you're like, there's a problem. Is just it's such a unnecessary struggle back to realizing that you never had a problem. Maybe you're just going through something, or maybe you just think differently than someone else. Maybe you're just not conventional. Like, all of these things. Like, it's just such like, again, you do the long way around, and it's like, I get it. People find like relief in being diagnosed with stuff, but like, I would just, again, I would say that life is actually much simpler than we think it is, and like, it's not like this thing that's like, again, split off into the past and the future and whatever. In the present, what are you reinforcing? Because if you're reinforcing that you have a problem, you are reinforcing, aka perpetuating, aka continuing, aka making it longer, aka drawing it out, when it actually could be something that just passes. You're drawing it out. And it's I'm not sitting here again, like, I get why people do it. I do get why people do it. Why people feel like comforted from diagnoses and they feel like the medication is helping them. And I'm not saying to not do it. I'm just saying to know that it's temporary. Don't identify with it. Don't allow it to become you, because it's not you. It's not you. And that was like, for me, just such a journey. Such a journey. Like, so I went on medication. Anyways, she gave me medication. I took them all. Not only to mention the fact that medication, and then if you like I would, I think I would wait the allotted time. You wait, try to see if it works. Wait a couple months, see if it works. Yeah. And then I'd be like, this isn't working. Didn't work. Yeah. Didn't work. None of them worked for me. I hope you know that. Like, none of them work. Like, the more than 10 that I've been on, none of them work. At all different strengths. No.
You're talking acne stuff.
No,
Or
I'm not.
you're talking
Mental health
mental.
stuff.
Oh, right.
I'm talking about acne stuff
Everything.
too. None of it worked.
None of it worked.
No. Like, I literally, like, I would just go and they would keep giving me, maybe you need to try. I'd be like, okay, then maybe you need to add on to this. Maybe you need to switch the thing. And I'm gonna tell you this: the switching around of stuff, of medications, like when they all sort of do something the same, but they affect your brain differently. Like, I genuinely am like, and I'm not sitting here blaming the doctors either, because they're just doing what they've been trained to do and what they actually think is going to help. Maybe some doctors, again, are being influenced by pharmaceutical companies, whatever. I'm just assuming good intent right now. And I'm like, yeah. I'm telling you that I could have been more responsible. I could have been. Because I could have been like, I'm taking the lazy way. I am taking the lazy way. But you get caught up into it. You get swept up into it, and then you go into a spiral. So I'm saying that preventative measures, like what she was telling me to do in the beginning, would have been the best to do, because once you get on the journey, it's very hard to get off. It comes back down to medication itself is very hard to get off.
Yes,
we're going to get to that, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of the switching medications, it messes with your brain. It actually messes with, like, your brain when you frequently switch, or again, I'm not even trying to say frequently switch. Just when I'm after, like, I will tell you, like, the amount of, like, and like I said, I think that everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for reasons. And I feel like I'm clear now. I feel healthier than I've ever been, honestly, now. But I will say that from the medication that I've had in my life, all of it, and I was also like I went through like a party phase too. So I'm not gonna just say it was just the pharmaceuticals. Like, I've drinking a lot of alcohol in my life. I've taken some other drugs. I've smoked weed. I've done whatever. So all of this piled up on top of each other. It's just like, I remember there was a point where I was like, my brain just doesn't function the same way anymore. It just doesn't. Like, I remember when I was like, and I was, you're assuming like, you're like 12, and then you're gonna get only like smarter from there. And I just feel like it was like, my brain was like, and you know what? Again, I'm not saying that it's just like it went like this. Maybe it started growing in another way. It just, at a point, was like, it like put its hand up at me, just being like, I'm tired. I'm tired of this. And I was like, to be fair, I'm tired of this as well. I'm also tired of this. And so
I was very tired of this.
My mom's tired of it. Everyone's tired of it.
I just want to say, for the record, that 10 years was a hell. And I remember her going in, because you're thinking, oh, you're the mother, right? Did you not go with her? Did you not like talk to her? Hell yes, I went. I didn't get to go in with her because she was 16, and she's like, I don't need you to come in. Probably didn't want me to say anything to the doctor. So there was less influence that I could have had on that situation than I would have liked. But I remember her going in that day when she couldn't sleep, and she was dancing a lot, and it was stressful for her, and I'm sure that's why she was stressed out and why she couldn't sleep. But I remember thinking, when she brought the prescription out, here we go. That's what I thought, because I knew from other, my husband, other things that have happened to other people that in my life, that was just going to be, if you can't manage this thing that probably isn't that big of a deal, with turning your computer off, not eating, like just the basic things, that how it just was going to, I just felt, oh my God, here we go. That's what I thought. And that's what happened.
And like, again, like,
and I just tried to support her as best I can. And a lot of shit, it just was
I would just say, like, some people, like, again, I think that health care stuff can help. Like as much as I
Yes,
say
of
that
course
health,
it can.
as much as I said that health is natural and that you have the ability to heal yourself and to stay healthy. The medical industry and healthcare professionals can definitely assist you in helping you. Like they can help you help yourself. They can get you sort of on track. And so I get why people want to take medication. I get why people do all of that. Like I'm just saying it to really like understand whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're feeling as a passing experience for the most part, and to understand that you will return to that homeostasis of feeling that inner peace, and that you don't need to like jump off the cliff and be like, well, I guess I'm fucked now and I need them. Like it's fucked forever, or sorry, it's messed up forever, and I therefore need them to solve all of my problems. Like it's a slippery slope. I'll describe it as that. It's a slippery slope of identifying with all of these mental health disorders. And it's even more like kind of dangerous now because there's so many people online who are like, I have this. Oh my gosh, I so have anxiety. I just like I just some ADHD. Oh my gosh, I'm depressed. Like, and they all sort of like bond over it. And I'm not saying that they don't feel those things. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying it's like becoming a trend almost, and it's a dangerous trend to participate in and to identify with. Because if you don't want to be something forever, don't identify with it. Period. It's that simple. If you don't want it to perpetuate, don't identify with it. And like that again comes back to people believing in their natural ability to be healthy, or just believing that the situation can change for the better, without having to like just go down this like I need to try to control it, because that is, it's just very very hard to get off of that.
So how did you heal?
So anyways,
let's see how she healed.
Well,
this is
already an hour, and I told you if you want like the actual like deep feelings of what I like, the epiphanies that I had to like come to
just give us the Coles Notes
we'll just
version
give you
this time.
the health centered, medication centered focus right now. I definitely like, I don't want to say I don't know if you hit a rock bottom, but like I just am like I can't feel this way anymore. I got fed up. Initially, I got fed up with just the like feeling like my system didn't belong to me anymore. It belonged to the medication. It belonged to any substances that were going into my body. That's what I was just being kicked around by them. Like I was waking up, taking medication to get awake, and then I was taking medication to get calm, and then I was like all of these things. Like I was no longer involved at all. Like my intuition was like just completely suppressed. I didn't like that, so I went off all my medication. And I'm not saying, hey guys, go off your medication.
I would say don't do that.
When they tell you you need to like go off, wean yourself off.
Yeah, you need.
They're telling you that for a reason.
Yeah, you fucking need to.
I didn't.
She didn't.
I went off all of my medication.
Oh my
I said,
God.
I'm not taking this.
I
went off like all of them. My birth control, my mental health medication, my anxiety, depression medication, my ADHD medication. I'm not going to list them off for you, but I just went off everything.
And if you thought the 10 years before was hell, the 2 years of it, dealing with it, going, and when I said don't do that, and she did it anyways, that was hell plus.
Yeah.
So don't do that. Just don't do that.
I went off my medication.
She did.
And it was very, very difficult. Like, it literally felt like just like you had to walk through the fire. I'll just say that.
That's true.
And at the same time, like, my life was changing around me. And it was just like, it was almost like coming back to trusting life and in the same sense, my health, coming back to that, it's almost like I had to show that I was 100% committed to it. Like, it was like a trial, like a life trial, where it was like, okay, you're going through, because I feel like I almost, like, again, disrespected myself in a way for so long. I disrespected my health in a way, and in the same sense, I disrespected the entirety of, I would say, life, because I believe in oneness. Again, like, it's like almost like life was like, okay, you say you want to come back to health. You can't give up. You can't take the easy route. Every single thing that was leading to your, your just like tendency to, be like, well, I just want to be like lazy. Like, not just physically lazy. I mean, like, in my thinking, the thing that led me to be like, just get medication. Like, every single thought, belief system, every single thing was being stripped from me. And it was happening in things around me too. When people say, like, like, sometimes things like fall apart so that they can come together better. Like, it was like, yeah, life was going, everything that you like identified with that was ultimately false is going to be stripped from you. And it's going to feel like you are walking through fire. And that's what it felt like. But I was like, fair. To be honest, fair. Because, like,
you made those decisions.
Yeah. Like, that was me. That was me being, like, numb for so long, being like, this doesn't matter. Like, being like, close my eyes. Like, it doesn't even matter. I'll just fucking be like, over here, ignoring the fact that I'm like an integral part of life. And I can't just sit there and be like, put the responsibility on someone else. Fix it. Like, fix it. Oh, there's issues out there. There's issues in here. There's issues. Whatever, you fix it. And so, like, coming back to that place of taking full responsibility for my life, yeah, it was a challenge, but it was, again, it's like saying that health is a challenge, or health is hard. It is the most fulfilling thing you can ever do, because you actually, every step that you take through that, you become more empowered, genuinely empowered. Not like it be, again, feeling good and then feeling like shit. Like, you genuinely find such a solid place to stand on when you know that you are being true to yourself. And again, that goes hand in hand with taking care of your health, taking care of the health of not only you, but the environment around you. No longer am I just being like, okay, well, I don't care if I'm being problematic for my, like, whatever, like, what, all of that, like, yeah, it's honestly the most fulfilling thing that you can do. And that's coming from someone who, I've done it all. And
so what are some of the specific things that you did after you went off everything and you settled down from that?
Prioritized my faith. And yes, I'm not here to like be like, hey guys, like, oh, I found, like, even though, if that's what you interpret from what I'm saying, then that's what you interpret from it. I'm saying that faith is like, people like to make this like a religious thing, and like religions are founded upon faith, but faith is just believing in like the good, believing that all things are working together, again, like health, everything's working together for good. When I say faith, it is synonymous for me with health being natural. It is synonymous with, of course, I can do it because if I'm part of the oneness, if I'm part of all that is, if I'm connected with everything that is, then what would be preventing me from being able to do it? And of course, that also means that you have to understand that the things that you want to do have to promote the like goodness for everything. If you're trying to be supported by the goodness of everything, the things that you do have to promote,
be aligned with that.
Be aligned with the goodness of everything. It can't be like, okay, well, I can do this and it'll fuck you over, but like, so that's what I'm saying. Like faith, when you connect with your faith, and just the faith that, again, that you can, and that you are fully supported by everything, by all of life, because everything is working together, then you don't make the same decisions that you make before. Because a lot of the decisions that you make come from that foundation of lack, that come from the foundation of I'm either scared, or I'm weak in some way, I'm lacking in some way, and I need to get it, or I need to like do this to show that, like, to prove something, or I need to, like, you need to fight the external force that is like pushing you down. And when you understand that all of this is actually working together to lift you up, then, like, when you come from the place of, instead of lack, being fulfilled already, because again, you're part of a whole, then you don't make the same decisions.
So what are the decisions? What would be...
Okay, one thing is I could do this thing, and I know that I shouldn't do this thing. I know that I'll probably feel like shit after, but I'm going to do it because it's easy, because right now I feel anxious. Right now I feel sad. Right now I feel whatever. So I'm going to do it because it's easier. Also know that this isn't like, when you are walking the healthy path, understand that grace comes with that. That isn't like, if you make one, oh my God, I made one little like misstep on my walk, on my journey, I'm fucked. Something like, no. It's understanding that even if you do, it's okay. Come back to that place of fullness. Come back to the place of wholeness. Come back to the place of you're okay. You didn't, like, you're not like, you're still part of the whole. Even if you don't want to acknowledge that sometimes, or even if you can't acknowledge that sometimes, you're still part of the whole. So as soon as you can return to that center, you just keep it moving. And little by little, you will come more in alignment with making those steps that are beneficial to you. And then they will just build, like with positive reinforcement, the momentum will build, and it'll become easier and easier for you to make those steps. So I think that, yeah, like it's when you are moving from a place of faith and fullness, like wholeness, it's easier to make those decisions, and it's also easier to realign yourself when you feel like you have made a mistake or whatever.
So how do you live now versus how you lived then. In like this, I get the philosophical part of it, I understand that, but give them some ideas of tangible differences
Tangible
and
things.
tangible
Okay.
choices that you've made different, do
Okay.
differently now.
Okay. I like in terms of my skin. Let's just start there. Start on the surface. Work our way in. I in terms of my skin, and maybe again, like I'm not sitting here being like, oh, maybe I should. Like I'll just say this though. I'll say this. I with my skin, it was like similar to the process of my mental health stuff. Like it was just a long journey. But I remember like I went to this clinic, right? And they were like doing some like
Laser stuff,
laser microdermabrasion or something like that. And I like they were like, yeah, it's like $5,000.
There was a lot of money.
Of her money.
It was a lot
for like a few treatments and stuff. And so I did it, and I felt like the products that she was giving me in the meantime, like it's like she would do it, I would feel like it was help, but then it would help, and then she would give me these products, right, that would like feel like mess it up again, to be honest. And she's like, no, that's natural. They're purging and whatever. So whatever. And I was like, I don't know. Like I've been taking these products for a while now, and it just seems like they keep messing it up. Like it's like whatever you're doing, the products are messing it up. So then I come back and I do another one. And then they mess it up again, and I come back and do another one. And I mess it up again, and I come back and do another one. And then finally, I was like, hey, whatever. This series of treatments is over, because she gave it to me in a package, right? So I was like, I'm just not gonna do that anymore because it doesn't help. Like I was like, this has been like a year and a half, and I'm $5,000. Like, fix it, right? No, didn't really change it. I was like, okay. So then I was like, I went to her and I was like, please, I just want this one product, this one vitamin C product. I like vitamin C. Just give it to me, and I don't need the rest of the stuff. She's like, no, but you should take that with this. And it was this new girl, right? She's like the product sales girl. I'd never seen her before. She didn't come to any of my appointments before. So I was like, who are you? She's like, I think you need this. And I'm like, that actually has been the product that's been messing it up this whole time. I don't want that one. She says, no, but this is a new brand. That was probably because of the other brand. Now I'm sitting there, again, susceptible, being like, no, I don't want that. And then she said, no, you need to have this one. I said, okay, fine. She gave it to me. My skin exploded in a way that I can't, I'm like, like even thinking about it now, I'm like, what is happening? Like, exploded, okay? 2 years later, after the explosion on my face from the product that I said I didn't want, I was like, my skin is semi-fine again. Wow. Like, it's literally like you're like a little ant or whatever. You're like a millipede. You like make it to the end of like the one tile outside. And a human comes and you get stuck on their shoe and they take you on all the way back. I'm like, what the heck was that? Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. So at that point, I was like, I'm not putting any of this shit on my face anymore. I don't want any of your products. Don't touch me with it. Like, and so I'm sitting here going, like, at this point now, I, like, after that, I, like, maybe tried, like, I was like, I'll use a cleanser and whatever, moisturizer. Even still, I think my skin, like, genuinely, what I've realized, I'm like, my skin doesn't want, and I'm not saying to not use your treatment list that you have at night.
I am saying that.
Because ultimately, I will say this, whatever you believe, this is what I'm talking about in terms of like your ability to heal yourself. If you believe that stuff can help you, like genuinely, then you probably aren't going to have as many problems. For me, I don't I'm like, this is a scam. This is a scam for me. And so my skin does not respond well to it. It's literally like, get it off of me. And that's why I'm talking about the power of your mind. Trumps all of it. Trumps all of it. What you're doing, the power of your mind trumps all of it. And so when I literally don't put anything on my skin. I don't want anything on my skin. And my skin, I'm like still like, well, could be. Like I look at the girls on Instagram, I'm like, could be tighter. Like could be, you know. I don't care. I shouldn't be worried about that. I don't care to be worried about that. Like at this point, like I feel like I take care of my like, you know, like hygiene and stuff like nicely. And then I'm just like, I don't need it to be perfect. Like I don't need to have like no wrinkles. I don't need to have no spots on my face like at all. I don't need to look like, I don't need that. And if I am getting too like freaked out about that, I would hope that I would get like someone to tell me that shit doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter. Like everyone like has little quirks or things about their physical appearance that they're like, and I think that is, it gives you just the right amount of like humbleness to go, that stuff doesn't matter, because it doesn't. And so anyways, for my skin, I don't really do anything, to be honest. Maybe I should, maybe I could, I don't. And I don't really care that much about it.
You definitely changed
I think that,
what you're eating.
But yeah. The main thing, that's what I say, the main thing that I notice my skin react to is, well, number one, all of these things for me are linked to, am I prioritizing my peace? Ultimately, that comes from my inner work that I do. So my skin and my diet are all like kind of byproducts of like, if I feel like I'm stressed out and I'm stressing over things, my skin will show it. So I need to not stress over things. I need to practice my peace so that I'm not stressed over things. It's not that I need to do these products and keep the stress. No. Get rid of the stress.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Don't add products to not deal with the stress.
Yeah.
Get rid of the stress. Like if there's something in your lifestyle that's causing you stress, deal with that. And then again, it's the same thing with diet. I feel like I eat very, very healthily. Like very healthily, probably compared to a lot of people. So like I feel like for the most part, it's when I'm that's another thing. When I'm changing things like really frequently, like I typically eat like not that much dairy, don't eat that much meat. And I'm not saying that has anything to do with like you have to do that. I'm not saying that. I do that because I don't like how meat is farmed. I don't like the factory farming industry. But I think that in terms of my skin reacting, or just even just my mental state reacting to my diet, it's usually like when I'm changing things really rapidly, like how my skin was with the products that I was like changing up. Like if I'm like not drinking milk or not having dairy, and then I'll have a bunch of dairy, have a bunch of like chocolate, have a bunch of whatever, then my skin will be like, stop. My body will also go, ooh, whoa. You know, maybe if I ate them more frequently, then it would be not as intrusive. But I think that again, the switching up of it, because my body, again, right now I'm very, very in tune with my intuition. Like very, like that makes you very like sensitive to like subtle, what's happening. You know what I mean? And so my body sort of reacts to that. And so that's why I would say that I eat the way that I eat. Not that I'm like, again, not trying to switch it up, but I'm, in terms of things like dairy or meat, especially, that's when I notice that my skin is sort of like, whoa. But I also, as I said, everything is a byproduct of like my internal state. So I eat the way that I eat, and I eat like, I would just say I eat the way that I eat to make sure that my internal state is not cluttered. Like processed food, high sugar, high salt food literally makes you lethargic. And it's not even necessarily like a body thing where I'm like, I don't want to gain weight, I don't want to whatever. It's literally like, if I eat that, it fogs me up, it makes me foggy, and it makes me less in touch with my intuition. My intuition, as I said, like health, you need to prioritize it. My intuition, which is tied into that, is my number one priority. And so anything that comes in the way of that needs to be adjusted. Like if I'm eating something, it makes me groggy, makes me lethargic, makes me unable to, like I've noticed I'm like meditating so well, and then I eat this thing and now I'm completely fogged up. Why would I do that? Because again, that to me, maintaining that inner balance is the most important thing. So that's the why I eat the way that I eat. It's not for an aesthetic thing. It's not even really for a physical, like in order to keep my blood sugar level, like all of those things play a part in being able to access, like obviously you want your body to be in as healthy shape as possible because that helps you access your intuition. But this is all so that I can maintain that inner sense of inner peace, because that sense of inner peace, like I said, is the foundation of health. That's what health is. When there's harmony within the system, that's health. Anything I can do to facilitate that is ultimately what I'm going to do, because again, health is my number one priority, and that to me is the same thing as saying that peace is my number one priority. And I think, that's what it is. But
what did you say that you said? I'm not saying that, but I'm like, I am saying that.
That you shouldn't put anything on your skin.
Yeah, I'm saying that. I think the theme of this is simplicity is key. You don't need to buy into all of this stuff to make you healthy. You need to make good decisions. You need to keep things simple. You need to prioritize your health. You can't get it in an hour a day, if you even do that. That's not enough. And
workouts especially.
It may mean changing your lifestyle. I did teach fitness, and that was sort of because my husband was really busy with work, and I could do that part-time and be home with my kids. But to be honest, I wouldn't choose a job that had me sitting in an office all day or that limited my ability to be active throughout the day. I would rather be a garbage man or a letter carrier or somebody that could be outside and active during the day.
I don't think you have to choose between.
I don't think you need to choose, but you want
your job obviously to be a expression of who you are.
Yes.
And so if you are, and again, I don't mean who you are in your identification with being limited and being weak and being whatever. I mean who you are in your fullest expression. So that would mean it would mean active.
But people are limited in this world because the way things are set up. If you work in the DMV, you're going to sit all day long. I would never do that. I just would never choose that job. First of all, I don't believe in even guiding my life that way. I will choose things that I'm passionate about over anything else. But also in terms of health, I'm not going to choose something that's going to limit me physically to have to just sit all day long. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Well, yeah, but again,
a lot of people have to do it because they have to.
You have to think about it more holistically. You don't want a job that's going to limit you in terms of it's not going to allow you to, it's going to reinforce limiting belief systems.
Correct. I get that.
All of these things.
I get that, but
you're not going to want a job that's going to make you. I mean, let's say eat things, like I'm just trying to think of all the aspects of health, like eat things that are going to make you unhealthy or whatever. Like you don't want a job that reinforces any unhealthy habits.
I know, I get that, but I think that
fitness is one of the.
I think the struggle for most people, I would say, is that the world is not set up for them to be healthy, and that is a massive, massive problem.
But that's the thing. Our society is like a society that reinforces sickness.
Yes, correct.
But identification with sickness.
Correct.
Because they profit off of selling you the solution to that sickness.
Right. So I think first step though is...
But not even just that though. I can't just say that again, that's just like this society thing. Because I always say this, but I will say it again, like that people think that society is just out there like making all these like plans and schemes and shit. And that they're just like being influenced. Society is made up of people, made up of all of us. Mm-hmm. Like we are all making up this society and reinforcing the beliefs that are driving it. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't want to participate in it, you have to take accountability in your own life and go, I'm not participating in this. I'm not going to buy that. Mm-hmm. They're supplying a demand. If there's no demand, then there's no supply. Right. But as long as there's a demand, there's going to be a supply. So you have to make those choices in your life and be like, I don't care if I have to, for example, like I spend this extra time making a meal or going to buy healthy produce from a place that I can afford healthy produce at. Like I don't care if I have to shift my job or maybe, or like my lifestyle, like just make these tweaks. I don't care if I have to do that. It's worth it for me. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if you go, well, it's inconvenient for me to do that. Well, I guess you're going to get taken advantage of, and you have to be okay with that. Like, and most people aren't. Yeah. I think they're just not aware of it. Definitely with, it just seems very overwhelming. I think if you're not in that mindset to start with, but like we've said before, even the smallest step. Every step is a step. You don't need to say they're small steps or big steps or any steps. Just take a step and understand that when you take a step, this is what I'm saying. If you take a step that works towards acknowledging health as a priority, and again, I'm going to take this into a philosophical thing, that is like taking a step towards the promotion of like all of life. Because again, this is one ecosystem. Like this is a entire organism. You can think of life as an entire organism. This is one organism. So if you make a step that goes, I want to contribute to the health of this organism by contributing to my own health, then the entire organism goes, I want to support you in that. Right. And so you will be supported in ways that you can't even fathom right now. Mm-hmm. You can't even like think about them from the limited perspective that you've been operating on. You're like, no. Maybe you'll be given a job like opportunity. That's when these random things start happening that seem like, oh my gosh, that was like synchronistic. It was like so like it's fate. Mm-hmm. It's the organism going, you want to help yourself? Right. I want to help you because you want to help me. Right. We want to help each other. Oh my God, it's a symbiotic relationship. Right. Like you're creating like this like synergy together. Right. But as long as you want to be like, I don't want to help this, it will go, I don't want to help you either. Right. Like, so that's why, like just trusting in that, trusting that you will be supported as long as you're taking steps, just any steps. And that again, comes down to having a strong faith in that, faith that when you go out on what seems like a risky, like a risk, like, I have to actually change my regular routine. Yeah. Like that seems risky to me. Know that you will be supported in that. And that's why faith, I think, is very important in this. Mm-hmm. And I think that making this shift in your life, again, it doesn't have to be like how I did it, where you just stop doing everything, be like, I gotta go live off grid. It's like we said, any step. Sometimes you still may be assisted by medical professionals, because, like, again, medical professionals are there to help you help yourself. know that, and if the help isn't pointing towards ultimately your ability to do it on your own, then maybe start being like, am I just being scammed? Because it should always be pointing towards your autonomous health.
You're in charge.
Yeah, like it should always be pointing towards that. But I do think that like science and like, you know, this seemingly like natural, like seems sort of like, again, woo-woo idea that health is natural, which is not, it's not like a woo-woo thing. Like science, ultimately, I think they go hand in hand. I honestly think these things go hand in hand. Science and faith, like, can coexist. They coexist and they complement each other. And so I think that you can still have like assistance from medical professionals and whatever you need to get yourself on the track that you need, but just know that you're working towards the goal of you being able to do it yourself.
You're independent. As my husband says, who's a surgeon, if you break your leg, he'll do 10% of the fix, and 90% is going to be on you to do the exercises and do all that other stuff. And I think that if you're having any issues, mental health issues, physical health issues, anything like that, it's not that you can't look to get help from people, but if you're doing that without reflecting on what is going on in your life, like what are you eating? How are you sleeping? How are your relationships? Like all of those things.
What are your belief systems?
Yeah, what do you believe is important?
Because your thoughts drive every single action that you take.
Then if you're not doing that reflective work, then no, there's nothing anybody out there is going to give or do to you that's going to fix you.
Help.
Nothing. So you need to, maybe you need to have both, but you definitely need to do the inner work first. Yeah. And you need to look at what's happening in your life.
And you need to make sure that the medical professionals that you are surrounding yourself with, and that this goes for medical professionals in any field, like
believe that.
They make sure they believe that too, because like as people, we put like people put so much trust in medical professionals, like because they're like, they have the authority, like they know and I don't know. Again, understand that that's the whole point of intuition. Like we're trying to get you to be connected with your intuition. You actually do know. It's just kind of cluttered right now. But like ultimately you do know. Ultimately people know what's healthy for them. That's why I'm saying that even when I was like pushing it down, like numbing it out, it still managed to go, hey, you know this isn't helping. Like it screams at you, and life will scream at you until you pay attention to it. And like
you learn to pay attention to your body and your mind and what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And the more you do that, the more you pay attention, the better at it you're going to get. And the more you pay attention, the better at it. And the more you're going to be healthy.
It's a positive snowball.
Yeah. Like I've definitely learned through these years that even though I think I've always been pretty healthy, that even now I pay attention even more. And I know what feels good if I eat something that is like we had tacos, or like with the taco powder, you look on the back of the taco powder package and it's full of a million things, you don't know what they are, it's not natural. If I eat that, my skin has issues, or something happens, my stomach hurts.
Just be like,
it's like, no, don't do that.
Why did you do that?
Yeah. And that doesn't happen for everybody, but because I pay such close attention and I really try not to eat anything like that, the minute I eat anything like that, and my mother is the same and you're the same, well, it just talks to your body, just says, no, you're not doing that. And so occasionally I could go out, and like you're saying, in moderation, sure.
Well, no, I just think that it's, again, you have to understand that like all of these little nuances ultimately come underneath you are naturally healthy. Like, that is the overarching principle. These things like come underneath it. So like ultimately that can trump all of them. So it can be like, hey, that you are naturally healthy. We'll go, that taco powder doesn't have the power to hurt you. doesn't have the power to hurt
Sure.
you. Maybe shouldn't do it because it's full of all of these processed like chemicals, and that doesn't really align with who you are, right? Like that's sort of what your body will say, but it's not gonna hurt you. It'll just kind of nudge you in a way where it's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, I don't think it's well, it could hurt you if that's what you're eating all the time.
I would also say though, in terms of that, not to reinforce the belief that these things that are ultimately like very trivial, like this is what I'm saying about the power of belief, that is actually stronger than all of these things. It's stronger than you being allergic to whatever. Like if you...
Yeah, we kind of disagree on this topic a little, but I hear what you're saying.
You can disagree on it if you
that
want.
would mean that I could eat or drink anything. It's a very drastic
way of understanding, and I'm not necessarily saying that, again, we have fully mastered as a collective.
Right, I believe we have not.
We have not gotten to the stage of you can just sort of like completely like regulate your body.
Yes.
But I am saying that it is working. If you understand that health is natural, it is working towards that. So even though you haven't maybe fully mastered it right now, and your physical body may still like react to certain things, understand that even this state of it being like, oh, spinach is upsetting my stomach, like this is also a temporary phase that we're moving through. If you believe that health is natural, because that's like you can sort of believe it sometimes, you can selectively believe it when you want to, or you can fully believe it.
Yeah, but you're talking about it just being completely, my mind controls everything, and then it could in the end.
I'm saying that I understand that where we are at,
yes,
as people right now, in bodies right now, with their physical body right now, and that the most important thing is, again, like it's like cognitive dissonance. If you haven't fully embodied like that, I can overcome this, I can overcome any physical thing, then you may still be affected by them. And that's probably at where most people are at. They're like still like they're gaining their I would say their innate power back. They're in the transition period where they're sort of like they're coming into themselves again. And I think that this is going to, it's not, I don't want to put a timeline on it. It's not necessary. I'm just saying, understand that ultimately it will be beneficial for you so as you identify with what you want to be. If you want to be limited, you can identify with it. It will stay. If you don't want to be limited, you can identify with that too. And you will eventually be able to overcome a lot more than you maybe can currently. That's all I'm saying. So when it comes to you being able to eat stuff, I would say that if you don't want to eat the spinach, don't eat the spinach. Don't eat the spinach. Maybe you won't crave the spinach like when you like in 10 years. I'm just saying, know that the spinach ultimately...
It's not even about the spinach. I mean, we're getting beyond what we're even talking about here in my head. I think that this is like at another level of people have to just get. It's like being a painter. Like I've never painted in my life. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you that you could be Picasso, and you could be. Yeah. But you need to learn how to paint first.
Yeah, sure.
So that's where we're at. Like nobody knows how to paint.
But they need to learn how to paint. But it's saying that you could be Picasso.
You could be Picasso.
Like you could be. I'm not going to sit here and be like you couldn't.
Yes,
I never be Picasso.
You can be Picasso, but you need to learn how to paint first.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. I think the main important thing right now where we're at, because we still are very like
physical based.
We're in this world. We've identified with our body for a long time. Like getting your body as healthy as possible in terms of exercise, eating, diet, sleep, mental health, all of that stuff, so that you can even access that inner intuition.
I totally believe.
We're going to like the intuition will drive your health journey, but there are these things that have been tried and true, like in terms of like how much exercise you should get, or what kind of foods you should eat, or all of these things, what you should avoid. Like there are these things that can help you sort of get yourself into a place where you can even be like healthy enough, clear enough to even hear that inner voice. Most people can't even hear their inner voice because they're so full of just mental and physical clutter, to be honest. And like getting that just
what are your top 5
is probably the most important thing right now.
Top 5 like physical, get off the philosophy for a minute. This is a constant battle between us. I'm more practical and she's more philosophical.
I think that this is completely practical.
It is practical, but like
telling yourself not to reinforce.
Okay, beyond that.
Sure.
Don't reinforce that you can't do stuff.
Sure.
We get that. Your mindset is everything. So you have to believe that you can be healthy and that it's natural first.
Because it is.
It is, and you can. But second, in the physical world, what would be 5 things that you would, if simplicity is key, recommend that people do to be healthy? And then I'll give my 5.
Meditate. Meditate, number 1. Or, I mean, again, life is a meditation. So ideally you want to be in that state of being able to, you know, center yourself in any experience you're in. But I think that for people who have difficulty, like actually taking the time setting aside to meditate is probably important. I mean, it's just going to be covering all of the pillars. Meditate, move regularly.
So one thing is movement. We have learned that regular movement throughout the day is more important for you, or just as important, more important, I would say, than working out. If you sit all day long and you go to a workout for 1 hour, think about the time that you're moving your body versus the time that you're not. And if being healthy is natural, but it involves keeping your blood sugar low, not having insulin spikes, this kind of stuff, that's what creates disease in a person, then the moving throughout the day, which keeps those things low, is more important than getting in that 1 hour workout.
And if you think about it,
so that's one big thing that I would say most people don't know, and that you need to understand that. And movement can be varied, doesn't need to be a big deal. It shouldn't be. If you're doing it often throughout the day, you walk here and there, you get up, you stretch, move around the house, you do some housework, you go out in the garden, you go for a little walk, you might ride your bike, this kind of stuff. The workouts are nice. They're a bonus, I'd say, for most people.
Yeah, definitely just move. Find a fun thing that you like to do that involves physical activity.
Yeah.
Whether it's a sport that you like to play or whatever. Dance, whatever. But yeah, if you think about health being natural, like if you're doing it more regularly, that is like, that means it's natural, right? If you think about your time,
it's not special.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, I only have 1 hour to work out. That's like a rare experience over here.
Right.
And then the rest of it, the majority of your day is not doing that. Well, then how is it natural? If it's natural, then it's happening often. It's happening it's happening very frequently. It's just dispersed throughout your day. So yeah, moving regularly.
Meditate, move regularly.
I mean, again, I'm not here to tell you what diet you should follow, but I would say cook your own meals.
Yeah, I'd say that.
As much as you can. Like you can go out for dinner.
Yeah.
We all love going for dinner, but like just practice creative cooking. I love like being in the kitchen and just like, you know, like using what you have, like just exploring flavors, exploring ingredients, and you know, try to be as much a part of the process as you can. So buy your own groceries. Like try not to get them like ordered to your house. You can if you want. Again, everyone can do what they have to do in time. It's like fine, but I'm just saying, as much as you can be involved in the process, be involved in the process, whether that is having a garden, doing like growing your own vegetables, growing your own fruits and stuff. that also means find a way to hang out with some animals. Find a way to hang out with some animals. And I'm not saying everyone has to have a farm. I'm not saying you have to go adopt a dog.
I want that.
I would love to have as many animals as I want, but I'm just saying, spend some time with some animals. And I feel like the more that you appreciate animals, the more that you'll appreciate, the food, the meat that you're eating, the less you'll waste, the less you'll maybe overeat meat when you don't need it. Like, you'll just have a respect for animals. And I'm not saying to be vegan, but I'm saying that you will have a respect for the food that you are consuming, and you won't just treat it as just like they're here to here to feed us. You'll appreciate the life around you, the living beings around you. So that's another one. I guess that would be 2. So then one more. Be outside and go in nature. I love nature. Like, we live in such an amazing planet. This planet is so beautiful. Like, yes, I see the pictures online where I'm like, oh, that'd be so amazing to travel there and look at everywhere is beautiful. Everywhere is beautiful. If you can go outside and just appreciate the beauty of nature, appreciate the plants, and there's the water, just everything, the ground, like all of it. It's so amazing. I would always think this, like when I was a kid, I would be like, oh my God, like you just go into like a garden and this stuff just grows like that. Just take it and like it. This is our home. So go and appreciate your home, okay? Not just in your house. Go outside and appreciate your home. And appreciate, honestly, too, like the like the things, like, I'm not just saying like we have to all live in the grass. I love sitting in the grass. But the things that humans have built, too, like all of it. People put so much care and so much energy into creating things and innovating. And as much as I feel like technology should be used like responsibly, and that we should balance it also with like an appreciation for just like the natural biological like systems that are growing, I think that it's amazing what people are able to do. And so just go out and appreciate the world around you, everything, the civilization, the nature, all of it, everything that life has created. Go out and appreciate it, and keep appreciating it, and find more things to appreciate, and just keep fueling that. Get excited about life, because there's infinite things to be grateful for in every single moment.
I'll finish it. Get off your phone and get off your computer and go and talk to somebody.
Hey.
Interact with some people, like for real. That will help your mental health. You're looking at less things that are gonna like trigger you or whatever, make you feel a certain way. When you're talking to real human beings, you realize nobody's perfect, and you don't feel so much pressure. You hear other people's stories and you don't feel so much pressure to be this perfect thing that you cannot be, that we see online all the time. So that's one. And then the other thing is, what was the other thing?
As you are.
I was going to say, oh, get less. Like, realize you don't need stuff to make you a better person.
Yeah, this idea that you need,
getting stuff means you need to work more, means you need more money, means you have less time to actually be healthy, means
I don't even think you have to, don't even think of, like, you can say get less, but at the same time, this is like hand in hand with just appreciate what you have.
Yes, yeah.
Appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
And understand that everything you do, every action that you take either stems from a place of I'm happy with who I am and what I have. I'm grateful for that, or I'm not happy with who I am. I need more. I need something external to make me feel happy. It either comes from lack or it comes from fullness. Like those are literally the only two options. And so just the more you can be aware of the foundation from which you're moving, and when you do find yourself in a place of, negative thinking or lack mentality, just understand that is not true. Health is natural, which means that you are healthy, which means that you are whole already. That's not true. And that feeling will pass. And when it does, you just recenter yourself back and make the decision that will actually benefit you.
I think in terms of just less, though, like I 100% agree with that. Like physically less, like this is actually a physical, like less stuff on your body, less creams and stuff and dyes in your hair and like things, less food, like just less of everything. I feel like is just better. Like that's what I've learned over the years. If I eat less, I just don't do things to myself. My beauty routine is literally water and some kind of face oil. That's all. Like, and it works.
You're good as you are.
You're good as you are. You don't need
everything
to do all
else
these
is
things
just
to
a
yourself.
Bonus. You don't
need
them.
it. And nobody cares, really. They might say, you look so pretty today, and then they turn around and don't care. I don't think they honestly care.
I don't necessarily think they care, but I think that,
they're worried about themselves. That's what I think.
People care because they
don't care about
themselves.
They don't care about you.
No, I'm saying that people may, for whatever brief interaction you have in which they express that they care, it's because they care about themselves.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's true. But that means they don't really care about you, your hair.
Either way, you're caring about the wrong things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're caring about superficial things.
Yeah.
They're
if you really think about it,
they're passing. They're transient things.
What things truly bring you joy? Yes. Who are the people you truly care about in your life? And if you think about those two things and what they have going for them, what brings me, patting my dog brings me joy, or my family or
love.
Friends or
love.
Yeah,
brings you joy. Love.
But does love come in this perfect package? Never. It never does.
Love can't be packaged.
But the thing when you love someone, it's not about them looking perfect or being perfect.
Love
it's not that.
Is about accepting them fully.
Yeah.
Because in the experience you have of connecting with someone who is,
this is a whole new
seemingly outside of you.
We're starting again.
Seemingly, when you connect with someone who's seemingly outside of you,
prepare for 2 more hours.
Okay, whatever. Well, wait, we're gonna do one actually.
Yeah.
Tomorrow about marriage.
Oh my God. Marriage, yes. So we'll talk.
About that there. Yeah. Just say love can't be packaged, okay?
Yeah.
Love it.
Be healthy. Health is natural. Simplicity is key.
Love yourself.
Love yourself, and get a dog.
And know that yourself is all of this. So love it all. Accept it all.
Okay.
Appreciate it all. Health is natural.